seasoned veterans are working to elevate the Bears to the next level, while the rookies strive to prove they can compete on football's most celebrated stage. It's the season's first test. It's the Bears and the Broncos on the Chicago Bears Network.
It's a great night in the great city of Chicago as we're ready to kick off a new football season. The second season of Bears football under head coach John Fox. Jay Cutler is back to lead the Bears, and he's got two top receivers in Alshon Jeffrey and last season's first-round draft pick, Kevin White. North Shore University Health System presents Chicago Bears preseason football tonight. The Bears take on the defending NFL champion Denver Broncos. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chicago Bears preseason football. I'm Sam Rosen, along with former Bears star Jim Miller. Lou Canella's down on the field, and a lot of excitement building because history tells us in the second year of John Fox coach teams, there's a lot of improvement.
That's right, Sam. He's never had back-to-back losing seasons. And then you look at the work he did last year on the defense. They finished middle of the pack at 14th in the NFL. Offensively, we're very efficient. Now just need more explosive plays.
Now, looking for improvement, well, the number one draft pick on the defensive side was Leonard Floyd. The number one draft pick last year, Kevin White, returns. He didn't play at all last season.
That's right. He's a height, weight, and speed guy. Was shut down with the leg surgery. He comes back, and I think everybody wants to know how quickly is he going to be a threat for opposing defenses. Now let's talk about Leonard Floyd from Georgia. He's a hot rod, 6'4", 240 pounds, all SEC with his 17 sacks for a career. He's got to learn to convert his trait of speed into power.
First game of the preseason, we'll be seeing a lot of players. We've got some players that we think you should keep your eyes on. Our Mazda players to watch. On defense, Akeem Hicks, a free agent signing, big defensive lineman. And on offense, Daniel Braverman, a seventh-round draft pick wide receiver.
Well, when you look at Akeem Hicks, he's big, strong, and physical. 6'5", 335 pounds, perfect for Vic Fangio's defensive end. How about Daniel Braverman? Small in stature, but he's big in skill set. Granted, he's a seventh-rounder out of Western Michigan, second in the nation with 109 receptions.
Okay, we're ready to kick off the Bears preseason here at Soldier Field. The Bears and the Denver Broncos are next. Warm, humid night here in Chicago as we get ready for this first preseason game. 88 degrees, cloudy, but 75% humidity. That's got to be tough to play in. Kickoffs in tonight's game are brought to you by North Shore University Health System. Robbie Gold, the only kicker in training camp, ready to kick it off and start his 12th season with the Chicago Bears. Back deep is the rookie from Holy Cross, Khalif Raymond for Denver. Robbie Gold moves forward, and preseason is underway. Raymond brings it back. Nice cutback, and he's brought down at the 24-yard line, a 26-yard return. DeMontre Hurst on the tackle. That's Mark Sanchez, who's now the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Peyton Manning took the Broncos to the Super Bowl championship and then retired.
And you look at John Elway, general manager, fiscally tight with the money. He wasn't going to pay Brock Osweiler, traded for Mark Sanchez. Should be a good fit in their run play action style of offense.
They'll be bringing along a rookie, Paxton Lynch, who they drafted in the first round. We'll check out the Bears defense in a moment. On first down, Sanchez in trouble. The Bears had it well covered. Flag on the play, and Sanchez left-handed threw it away. He was being chased on the play by Eddie Goldman. This is John Hussey signaling a holding on the Broncos.
Holding, offense number 71. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Check out the Bears defense, a 3-4 defense. And big up front. Mitch Unrein's had a good training camp. Akeem Hicks, the free agent coming in from the Patriots, has played well. 4 linebackers, the new ones, Jarrell Freeman and Danny Trevathan, brought in as free agents. And the secondary still very young. Keep an eye on the safeties. Here's Sanchez on 1st and 20, and the pass is caught. Diving play by Emmanuel Sanders, who had over 1,100 pass receiving yards. John Fox, second year as head coach, 6-10 last year. He wants improvement in the division and more wins at home.
And we're getting the first look of it on the defense. You mentioned the 2 middle backers, Jarrell Freeman and Danny Trevathan, both led their teams respectively in Indianapolis and Denver, plus up front with Akeem Hicks. And we'll get into the secondary that, as you mentioned, is very young.
On 2nd and 11, C.J. Anderson on the carry for Denver. And the Bears are there to shut it down at the 25-yard line.
All levels of the defense have been pretty much transition for the Chicago Bears. They went from one of the oldest teams to one of the youngest. And clearly, when you look at how Lamar Houston and Willie Young came on strong at the end of the season, plus the drafting of Leonard Floyd, and they will get back Pernell McPhee, they feel they have the pass rushers to really put the pressure on opposing quarterbacks.
And those 2 that you mentioned, Houston and Young, made great transitions to outside linebacker. Sanchez on 3rd down, throwing short. The catch made, and by the tight end Virgil Green. And Green gets up across the 40-yard line for a 1st down, a pickup of 14 on the play.
There's a protection. Bears want to focus on their pass rush. They feel they got the rushers now to get to the quarterback. You know, much like Denver did a year ago, leading the league in sacks with 52. It took them to the World Championship at the end of the day. So I think the Bears, really in Vic Fangio, they really want to get to opposing quarterbacks and affect their passing attacks.
Off the play fake, Sanchez rolling and throwing short and completing it to Demaryius Thomas, their number 1 receiver, who caught over 100 passes last season, into Bears territory at the 48-yard line. Kyle Fuller on the coverage. Kyle Fuller, a lot of a focus on him. He needs to be a top cornerback for the Bears.
Well, he's going on his 3rd year now, and he's a high draft pick, being a 1st rounder, and, you know, starting to get more comfortable. It's his 2nd year in the same system of Vic Fangio, and so he's expected to get more aggressive. Only 1 interception, 8 overall as a defense. That's where the Bears need to improve. That pass rush of the front 7 needs to now affect the back end of the secondary with players like Kyle Fuller, Tracy Porter. You mentioned the young Adrian Amos, who'll be starting the 2nd season. They need more than 8 sacks, only 14 takeaways a season ago. That total has to jack up so that they can get plus territory in the turnover differential.
Will Sutton in at nose tackle, number 93, replacing Eddie Goldman. Anderson picked up 3 on the 1st down carry. The fake, Sanchez throws the screen pass to the tight end, Virgil Green. A good coverage on the play. Fuller there first, and then Jarrell Freeman. Loss of a yard on the play. Freeman with a tackle.
Guys not fooled right there. You got the pressure from the defensive line. It's really a play-action pass that leads to a screen pass is what it is. That's what they're setting up. But you look at Willie Young, they're getting to the quarterback, puts the pressure on. And how about Fuller? Now staying at home, and that's what Freeman is known for. That is a tackling machine, and Danny Trevathan. They have led their teams over the past 4 seasons in terms of their tackling ability.
On 3rd and 8, Sanchez fires and completes it to Virgil Green. A 1st down at the Bears 33. Gain of 14 on the play, and once again, the Broncos converting 3rd down.
Well, going quickly, and obviously they're calling the plays quick, getting up there. The Bears got to make their substitutions quickly, and just getting back to Freeman and Trevathan and where they can help the Bears in 2016. They can cover on 3rd down. I know we just saw a 3rd down conversion, but Trevathan, they both come with a lot of instincts and a lot of speed. Last year, Bears had some players playing out of position. When you look at Shane McClellan, didn't work out. Thus, they attack free agency to address the middle of their defense.
Jonathan Bullard, numbered 74 in the game for the Bears. 3rd round pick, and a hit by Willie Young just as Sanchez was releasing. It's an incomplete pass, but good pressure by Willie Young. He's had good pressure thus far in the game.
He closed the season with 5 out of 6 sacks in the last 6 games. He was amazing. Look at him just get around the corner. Again, at speed, he's beating the tight end. That's what you have to do in order to make impactful plays, because ultimately that's going to lead to turnovers. Again, I'll go back to the Super Bowl. How did Von Miller start the game? It was a sacked fumble, and they score a touchdown against Carolina. That can get your opponent into a funk early.
2nd and 10, Sanchez, quick outside, and the pass complete down to the 27-yard line to Emmanuel Sanders to pick up the 6 on the play.
And, for Willie Young, he earned an extension. This is a player that ultimately wanted to be traded. He wanted to be a 4-3 defensive end and then started to realize he's having some success in the Bears defense. Both him and Lamar Houston, they were coming off of injury a year ago, and now let's look at the young draft pick, Leonard Floyd out of Georgia.
Bears
this is his down.
Up.
3rd down needs to be his down.
That's right. Bears traded up to the number 9 spot to get him. And flags fly. False start on the Broncos.
Start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
John Hussey's 15th year as an official. His 2nd as a referee. Bears set back 5 yards. Bring up a 3rd and 9.
And he can get around the corner. So let's see what type of first step explosion that Leonard Floyd is known for.
Sanchez throwing deep, and he's got Demaryius Thomas, touchdown! Thomas just ran right by Bryce Callahan.
Bears bring the heat, but it looked like Callahan got twisted around in coverage. Shotgun. See Floyd, he tries to bull rush, almost got there. You get the hit by Trevathan, but they brought the backer blitz. We call a one dog, so it's man on man. You got the nickel back out there on Demaryius Thomas, who had 105 receptions a year ago. He just misplayed it. Callahan misplayed it, is what he did. He thought he was going to set down for the first down marker, and he ran right past him with a double move.
So for Mark Sanchez, a good opening drive to his Denver Broncos career. He's in a battle with Trevor Siemian for the number 1 quarterback spot. Well, we'll see Jay Cutler in a moment. The Broncos have scored on the opening drive and lead the Bears 7-0.
University Health System and sponsored by Miller Lite, Gatorade, Xfinity, and United Airlines.
10-play, 76-yard opening drive, 32-yard touchdown pass from Mark Sanchez to Demaryius Thomas. Last season, the Bears were guilty of giving up 7 opening drive touchdowns, the most in the NFL. Back deep, Deontay Thompson on the kickoff from Brandon McManus. It drops at the 15, picked up by Thompson. Got a little bit of a lane, broke a tackle. Good return, out of bounds at the 33-yard line. 20-yard return for Deontay Thompson. Here comes Jay Cutler, starting his 12th season. About the Bears to us here in the booth through Twitter using the hashtag CB Network, just one of the many social media and digital content apps that cater directly to Bears fans. I gave Jay Cutler 1 extra year. It's his 8th year with the Bears, his 11th year in the NFL. As the defense talks things over, and Jay Cutler with 3 wide receivers, Alshon Jeffrey, Kevin White, and Mark Mariani. Cutler puts it up on first down, completes to Alshon Jeffrey, who fights his way for a first down. How about that by the big receiver? Gain of 12 on the play.
Impressive way to start the game, and for Jay Cutler, I mean, he played his most efficient football last year. You look at his touchdown to interception, 21 touchdowns, only 11 picks. That dropped from 18 interceptions a year before. So his most efficient football, and he didn't have all his weapons, and that's what Bears fans are looking for. Alshon Jeffrey on one side, Kevin White on the other. How is that going to affect the defense? That middle of the field could be wide open all year long.
Kevin White in motion. Good to see Alshon Jeffrey was bothered by a tight hamstring. He missed some practice time. Here's White with a couple of good moves. Gets a couple of yards on the play up to the 47. Check out the Bears offensive line. Big loss. Aronis Grasu, the number 1 center, is out. Ted Larson takes over. Bobby Massey is new to the line on the right side. Zach Miller, tight end. Kevin White, Alshon Jeffrey, Jeremy Langford. He gets the big opportunity to start at running back, and carries here
across midfield down to the 49. That's a big change for the Bears this year. The last 8 years, Matt Forte was the #1 running back, and he was a great one for the Bears.
And he's exceptional. You look at yards from scrimmage, one of the leaders since he entered the National Football League, but he's now a New York Jet, and it will be running back by committee for the Chicago Bears. And Jeremy Langford had flashes last year. We made some big plays, including that game against the Rams, touchdown pass in that matchup, and he runs harder between the tackle, needs to get better at catching the football out of the backfield.
3rd and 3, Cutler checking off as the Broncos fake blitz. Now they come with it. Cutler is surrounded and dropped for a loss. Back on the Bears side of midfield, and they will be forced to punt.
And they're just looking, they need to figure out Ted Larson obviously getting a start at center. He believes he knows all the calls, but he only has had 10 starts at the center position in his NFL career, and that was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's a quick change with the loss of Hronis Grasu, who the Bears were looking forward to see his growth. And now what we thought was, or Bears fans thought was going to be a step forward, potentially could be a stalemate all season long.
Pat O'Donnell to punt it away. Khalif Raymond is back. High punt going out of bounds. Good angle punt. Let's see. Yeah, not as good as they had hoped. It's back at the 20-yard line, a 31-yard punt. Broncos will go on offense after the Bears give the ball up.
North Shore isn't just here for you now. They're helping you be ready for what's next. North Shore University Health System. Healthcare for what's next.
John Fox coached the Denver Broncos for 4 years prior to coming to the Bears. Before that with Carolina. And as we said at the top, his teams have always shown improvement the second year. Big improvement.
Yeah, and you look at the moves they made in free agency. A lot of high-character guys, but he's going to under-promise and over-deliver.
Sanchez throwing on first down. Callahan on the coverage on Benny Fowler. As we mentioned, look at John Fox's record. First year with Carolina, 7-9. Second year, 11-5. First year with the Broncos, 8-8. Second year, 13-3. On second down, the carry by Ronnie Hillman picks up 5 up to the 34-yard line. And a first down for the Broncos.
And typically with John Fox, it's been rebuilding through the defense, and that's been the area of focus. You look at 6 out of the 9 draft picks this year were on the defensive side of the ball, and twice now, back-to-back years, Ryan Pace in free agency has really cashed in with some productive players.
It's Hillman with a good hole. It's across the 40 and up to the 42. Danny Trevathan, number 59 on the stop.
Willie Young, he mans it. He's trying to push it inside. It's that zone blocking scheme, but really Unrein really got out of gap right there a little too much, and that's why the running back cut it back inside. Freeman still makes the tackle, but too far down the field.
Trevathan, a key man coming over from the Denver Broncos as a free agent. Sanchez completing to Benny Fowler. Fowler, second-year man out of Michigan State.
And this is Fuller. That's what he's trying to do. They're trying to attack the football for takeaways. And this is where you work on those things. Fuller comes in. Look at him wrap. I'm not going to call that the peanut punch, but that's definitely a swipe.
Yep.
And those are the little things you have to do to create those turnovers.
Sanchez off the play fake, rolling and throwing, and it's broken up and intercepted. Sherrell Freeman on the interception after Bryce Callahan got his hand on the football, and the Bears with a turnover early.
Increase the takeaways. Again, only 14 last season. You need guys flying around the football, and you need to be better in coverage. Callahan gets his hand on it, and look at Freeman right there. He's better in coverage. Inside backer already paying dividends.
As the official bank of the Bears, PNC is going all in to help Chicago achieve great things on and off the field.
The players take over your radio every week on the Bears All Access Radio Show, brought to you by Uber. Catch the next show tomorrow at 6 p.m. on WSCR 670, The Score.
Bears first down at the 40-yard line with two tight ends in, two wide receivers, and Jeremy Langford. Langford dropped in the backfield for a loss, and there's a flag on the play. Check out the penalty on the Bears.
Illegal formation, offense. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Let's go back and look at the interception by Jarrell Freeman, free agent acquisition from the Indianapolis Colts. Poor decision really by Mark Sanchez, as there's three blue jerseys around there, but Callahan does a nice job getting his hand on it, tips it up, but Freeman and Trevathan are just more instinctive. They're better in coverage. That's what they're known for, and they're aggressive and always around the football.
On second down, straight ahead on the draw play, Jeremy Langford up to the 43-yard line. Freeman was a 4-year starter with the Indianapolis Colts. A real good pickup by the Bears to improve that inside linebacker spot.
Another one of those undrafted free agents, and here he's done nothing but make plays. He was playing up in the CFL, and here he comes in, starts making plays for the Colts. When he arrived at the Bears, he asked them the scouting staff, where they had him rated, and they said, hey, free agent. He said, all right, that's just going to keep my chip on my shoulder, so let's hope it leads to a lot of tackles because it served him well over his years in Indy.
Blitz coming, and they get to Jay Cutler. Second sack of the game. T.J. Ward from his safety position.
Just too many guys. They bring one more than the Bears can handle. Jeremy Langford steps up, stonewalls it, but it's a delayed blitz. It's a delayed blitz by Ward, and that's how they get it. Jay Cutler's got to see that or throw it away because they just have too many. They're bringing one more than you can block. Everybody else had their assignment, but Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, just out-chest the Bears.
At O'Donnell's second punt, Khalif Raymond at the 20-yard line. Hops over one man, but is buried at the 27-yard line. Good coverage by the Bears. Christian Jones gets down the field for the tackle. Bears trailing the Broncos 7-0. The Chicago Bears Network presents Inside the Bears every week on My 50 and Fox 32 Chicago. Hosted by Anthony Adams and Lauren Streeton, Inside the Bears is the most entertaining way to keep up with the Bears all year long. Bears making some changes on defense. This is the third possession of the game for the Broncos. Sam Acho, number 49. Leonard Floyd, number 94 in the game. Ronnie Hillman is stopped. Nice play by Cornelius Washington. 4-year man dropping Hillman for a yard loss.
And he's fighting for a spot right now when you look at Cornelius. Last year did not get a lot of playing time on IR most of the year, and this is a much deeper front seven. So he's going to have to fight, and obviously his ability to participate on special teams, which he has been very good for the Chicago Bears, but it is competitive in this front seven to make this 53.
5 defensive backs in, including Devontae Bosby, number 20. DeAndre Hall, 4th-round draft pick, number 32. Dion Bush, number 26, a 4th-round pick. Sanchez in trouble, throwing deep, and overthrows Benny Fowler. Double coverage, Chris Brzezinski, number 31. DeAndre Hall, number 32 on the coverage.
Typical Denver as they go run and play action early on early downs, first and second down. But again, you look, Floyd did enough to get in his way to make Mark Sanchez step up in the pocket. The hang up on Floyd, and here he gets double teamed. He was fighting through a double team there. So it was just enough. His key is to get stronger for Leonard Floyd.
On 3rd and 10, the short pass is covered well by Chris Brzezinski. Cody Latimer on the reception. Short pickup, and the Broncos will be forced to punt. So the Bears with back-to-back solid defensive series after giving up an opening possession touchdown.
The opening drive, Denver was 3 for 3 on 3rd down. That's where the Bears have to get better, is getting off the field on 3rd down. They had the 4th worst 3rd down percentage in 2015. So with the increased pass rush, better coverage on the back end, already one turnover has benefited from it, and the Bears hope to be better in 2016.
Mark Mariani on the return across the 30. Well, there have been changes on the Chicago Bears this season, and Lou Canella spoke to Jay Cutler about the different personality of the Bears this year.
It's a really good group, and I think the coaching staff, some of the changes they've made, additions and subtractions, have really helped out everybody, and we're in a good place. I mean, whether that translates to wins, we'll have to find that out, but the guys are definitely working in that direction.
And you certainly want it to translate into wins.
They have the potential to be a really good offense on paper, and that's always on paper. You've got a new play caller, so you got to figure that out with Dow Loggins and how he's going to utilize the weapons. So it's going to be pretty interesting how it all sorts out.
There was a hold on the return against the Bears, and the ball is spotted back at the 9-yard line. So the Bears' third possession of the game starts at their own 9. Three wide receivers in the game. Langford on the carry. Time for the North Shore Sideline Report. We go to Lou Canellas talking about this year's Bears team. Hi, Lou.
Hey, Sam, you just heard from Jay Cutler talk about the chemistry on this Bears team. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Dow Loggins is now his offensive coordinator. Don't forget, Dow was the quarterback's coach last year. Adam Gase received most of the attention for Cutler's career-high passer rating, but Loggins deserves some of the credit as well. Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Lou. Screen pass to Jeremy Langford. Picks up maybe a yard up to the 11-yard line.
In that transition, you get the consistency when you hire from within your system. So the offense, the terminology doesn't change. But what will change is there's going to be different pieces to the puzzle that is out there, so play calling could change. Is Loggins going to be more aggressive, maybe on third downs or things like that? So that's something for Bears fans to really witness and chart the first 4 games of the season, and you'll get the tendencies of the new offensive coordinator.
3rd and 8. Dow Loggins in his first game as offensive coordinator with the Bears working upstairs. Cutler throws. Mariani with a catch and enough for a first down. And the offense finally gets something positive.
Mark Mariani came on strong towards the end of the year. 11 out of his 22 receptions went for first downs. He really became the key slot receiver to move the chains. So Eddie Royal's been injured, and Mark Mariani's strong again.
Royal injured, Marquise Wilson injured, and Mark Mariani getting a chance to play and making the most of it. They spotted the ball. They ruled the pass incomplete. So my apologies, that is not a completion, and the Bears are forced to punt. 6 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Pat O'Donnell kicks it away. Good high kick. Khalif Raymond at his 35. Good return by Raymond back to midfield as we come to the end of the first quarter. Denver Broncos took the opening kickoff 76 yards, scored on a touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas, and lead the Bears 7-0. Back at Soldier Field, the Bears trailing the Broncos 7-0. See what's happening in Chicago. Jeff, Dawn, meteorologist Bill Bellis, and Lou Canellas on sports. Fox 32 News at 9. Now we'll start to see some different faces in the lineup, changes for both teams. A lot of youngsters will get an opportunity. And for the Broncos, Trevor Siemian, who played at Northwestern, is in at quarterback. He has not played in a regular season game. He completes to Cody Latimer for a pickup of 7 on the play, but he's had a good camp and he's challenging Mark Sanchez.
His issues when he came out of Northwestern, he had hurt his knee and they went to a young quarterback and he just wasn't healthy. John Elway likes the decision making. He's highly athletic with what Pat Fitzgerald runs at Northwestern. So obviously over 5,000 yards, he can throw the rock. Too many interceptions, but he's been known to be a good decision maker, and why John Elway and Gary Kubiak like it. Nice throw right there.
Yeah, again to Latimer, and again the completion is down to the Bears 26-yard line, a first down, a gain of 18.
It's a tough play to defend, and I don't care who's playing corner for the Chicago Bears. 5-step drop, and you're hitting the skinny post. That ball is out right away. And so when you look at Devontae Bosby, that is a tough, you got to break on it quicker. Just good timing, good throw. Bosby, who the Bears do like, he was in Kansas City, and they picked him up. He is long and rangy, 6'2", about 195 pounds. He's going to be a good corner once he develops.
And Simeon puts it up again and completes to Latimer down to the 20-yard line. The Bears have Devontae Bosby at one corner, DeAndre Hall at the other. The safeties are Kevin Peterson, number 25, a rookie out of Oklahoma State, and Chris Brzezinski.
Well, DeAndre Hall, one of 3 defensive backs drafted by the Bears. That was the focus. He is a Swiss Army knife from Northern Iowa. Everybody's wondering, can he raise his level of competition? Obviously, FCS level, much more is going to be asked by NFL competition.
Simeon with time, throws, and it's broken up. Fowler had it for a moment, but Hall got his arm in there and punched it away.
That's good ball skills right there. That's what he played both corner and he played safety at Northern Iowa. As a defender, you cannot raise your hands. Once he sees Fowler react to the ball, now he starts messing with the ball. So that's really good technique by DeAndre Hall. Good play by him. Another big physical defensive back drafted by the Bears. Well played to break that pass up. He was all over the field for Northern Iowa. I mean, literally, they blitzed him. They did everything. He is a great athlete.
3rd and 3 for the Broncos. Simeon lofts it to the end zone, and it's broken up. Once again, Hall on the play. Good coverage on Jordan Taylor.
2 back-to-back great plays. See what you can do now if you have a press bail or a press man corner, and if they can play outside and be isolated, it allows you to bring more heat with your front 7. And so that's what's being tested 2 times right there for DeAndre Hall. He's passed the test. He's excited about it, too.
Good plays by the 4th-round draft pick out of Northern Iowa. Field goal try of 37 yards by Brandon McManus. On the way and good. And the Broncos start the second quarter with a field goal and lead the Bears 10-0.
Bears preseason football is sponsored by PNC, Verizon, Mazda, and your local Ford stores.
Broncos 6 plays, 31 yards, 37-yard field goal by Brandon McManus to add 3 points to their lead. 10-0 the score now. McManus teeing it up. Deontay Thompson and Kadeem Carey are both back deep. Here is Thompson bringing it back. And hit as he got to the 15-yard line. 18-yard return. And Brian Hoyer, 30-year-old Brian Hoyer, played with the Cleveland Browns and last season with the Houston Texans and led Houston to the playoffs.
It potentially could have led Cleveland to the playoffs if they wouldn't have inserted Johnny Manziel, but it reunites him with Dow Loggins, the offense coordinator of the Chicago Bears, who believes he's a pro, just how he prepares himself. Hey, a winning record in the NFL, and this guy is perfect, whether as a starter, as a backup. He's great in the quarterback room, and plus brings a lot of productivity in terms of the quarterback position. They upgraded that spot.
On the carry, Jaquiz Rogers with a pickup of 3. Kyle Long has gone to the sideline. There is 2nd-round draft pick Cody Whitehair out of Kansas State, who has had a good preseason, but he's getting a look at center. At Kansas State, he played mostly tackle and guard, has been playing guard in preseason training camp, and now getting a look at center. Warrior handing off to Chris Rogers on the carry. Gain of 2 up to the 20-yard line.
Well, Cody, he started every position other than center at Kansas State. So tackle, left guard, right tackle. So he's known for his versatility. He's probably not long enough to play tackle. He needs to play guard or center. But you see the Bears already trying to cross-train him due to that injury to Hronis Grasu.
That was our McDonald's rookie spotlight on Cody Whitehair, a good-looking offensive lineman.
Great run blocker.
Boyer throws incomplete, intended for Deontay Thompson. Might have been tipped.
I think it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. But again, you see another running back getting in there when you mentioned Jacquizz Rodgers. He goes out last year with a broken arm. I think he is going to be a special third down back. So they've got a stable of running backs, and they just need to stay healthy as a whole.
Third straight 3 and out for the Bears. The offense not sharp thus far in the game. And Pat O'Donnell is back to punt. Aaron Brewer is the long snapper, formerly with the Denver Broncos. Played 4 seasons with Denver. Good high punt by O'Donnell. Khalif Raymond backs up, takes it at the 29, and the Bears have it covered. Return up to the 36-yard line. Broncos with a 10-0 lead on the Bears.
For a limited time, purchase specially marked 12 packs of Miller Lite and receive a free Chicago Bears sweatshirt. Miller Lite, the official beer of your Chicago Bears. It's Miller time.
Stay up to date on the Monsters of the Midway with the Bears Coaches Show, Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. all season on WBBM News Radio 780 and 105.9 FM. From the 35, this is the rookie Devontae Booker, who they really like. Broncos got him in the 4th round out of Utah, and they think they got a steal.
This guy's a slippery runner, Sam. I mean, he's great out of the backfield. Over 2,700 rushing yards, 21 touchdowns, 80 receptions in 2 years alone. What I thought was interesting there, running over the Bears, 3rd-round pick, Jonathan Bullard out of Florida. I think this guy can be a special player in a sub-package in Vic Fangio's defense. We'll see how he does tonight.
Booker is stopped, and Bullard was in on that play.
He's
Good
quick,
call,
man.
Jim.
He's quick. I'm telling you, I really love it. I mean, between Floyd and Jonathan Bullard, you got a chance now on 3rd down where you got some legitimate pass rushers with Willie Young, Lamar Houston, then when McPhee gets back. Great job, but he's known for his quickness. He's got a big build, but he can move. You know, he's not a run stuffer, but right there, he really slid off on that, shed the block to get to the football. He's going to be a very good football player. 5
defensive backs in for the Bears, 3rd and 5 for the Broncos. Simeon throws. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Good job up front. And the pass incomplete, and a good job by the Bears defense again.
Let's see who gets to the quarterback there.
Looked like John Timu got his hand on it.
And there's another guy. He came on in backup duty last year, but Timu gets his hand on it. But how about the spin move by Floyd right there? See, that's what you're looking for. For him, he's just got to get stronger. He's so lean and rangy. He's got to get better at locking out. But a spin move there, showing some pass rush and working on it.
Riley Dixon's punt. Daniel Braverman goes over. It bounces and is touched down by the Broncos at around the Bears 17. 47-yard punt. Bears on offense when we come back after the defense did a good job. John Hussey with an announcement on a penalty on the kick. John, take it away.
A member of the kicking team went out of bounds on his own. He was the first to touch the kick. That penalty will be enforced 5 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
Okay. The guy we've been talking about is Cody Whitehair, 2nd-round draft pick of the Bears, who is seeing action at center. He started the game at guard with the 1st-team unit. Now with the 2nd-team unit, he's playing center.
Everybody expected him to be a day-1 starter. Typically, you don't want to overload rookies by teaching them 2 positions. And obviously for Cody, this would be a new position for him because that's the only position he hasn't played in college. But 51 starts for Cody Whitehair. Good football player.
Boyer with a completion to Deontay Thompson, who turns it into a big gainer
Up to the 45-yard line, a gain of 27. Nice throw by Hoyer. Thompson wide open on the play.
Great on the play action, right up the middle, right over White here. You see the play action, good fake, good mesh point by Brian Hoyer. Defender falls down, and then Brian Hoyer, being the veteran quarterback he is, exploits it. Thompson gets the big gain.
Jim, you and I were down in Bourbonnais, and Thompson was having a good camp, getting a chance to play. And when the hamstring started to bother Alshon Jeffrey, got good playing time. And there's a short completion from Hoyer to Thompson. Just across midfield, a gain of 5. Deontay Thompson played with the Baltimore Ravens a couple of seasons. Bears picked him up last season as a kickoff return man.
Really came on strong as a kick returner. Only a couple catches on the season, but he's developing a rapport, as you mentioned, not only with Jay Cutler, but you see it there with Brian Hoyer. Certain guys have a feel, and he's a huge target. Something the Bears have missed desperately, and hopefully those big targets can stay on the field in 2016.
Here's Jaquiz Rogers cutting it back into Denver territory. Late flag on the play. Ball down at the 47-yard line.
Cody will get down and dirty. He's a drive blocker. Good in the run game. You see him stalemate. That's a great block in the NFL. It's normally a stalemate. We'll see if it gets the holding call there. It looked like he grabbed a little jersey, but there was enough avenue for Jaquiz Rogers to get through there.
Offense number 65.
Yep,
10-yard penalty.
Called for it.
And there's what it is. Well, things happen quicker on the inside. Not only his guard. See, he's getting a feel for snapping the ball and now getting his hands up. That's a different technique. He's never played this position. He's good enough to do it. But Bears right now are going to cross-train him unless they go out on the free agent market and pick up a veteran and allow him to play where he probably needs to start this season, and that's at left guard.
Rob Hausler is in at tight end for the Bears. Joshua Bellamy is one wide receiver, and Daniel Braverman is in at the other wide receiver, number 83. Thompson also in. Hoyer swings it out to Jaquiz Rogers. Rogers brought down as he gets up to the 43. Pick up a 3 on the play. Well, the big loss thus far in training camp is to Hronis Grasu, who last year played as a rookie, and they had high hopes. He got stronger in the offseason, and he was taking over. A very bright guy, very sharp, calling all the coverages inside. And they lost him on the injury at FanFest last week. He tore up his knee, and he's out for the season.
Well, the Bears are doing exactly what they want to, getting younger and faster and more athletic at the offensive line. Grasu was one of those guys out of Oregon. Gained 10 pounds that you mentioned. Nice throw right there by Hoyer.
Hoyer, you know, we haven't talked enough. That's a real good pickup. Hoyer comes out sharp, but there's a flag back at the 35 that will negate the play.
Remains third down.
It was a 17-yard gain. A good throw by Brian Hoyer.
We'll see. Let's look at the replay here and see how this pans out, because it was a nice strike to Bellamy that you mentioned. High snap.
Whoop.
There's Grasu. That can affect a lot of guys in terms of the timing. Hoyer does not panic, just gets into his drop, reads the defense. Perfect strike to Bellamy. And again, those are the kinks you're going to have to work out. Hronis Grasu, like you said, was very athletic, was coming into his own, got stronger, got up to 310 pounds. And now, you don't get to see the growth at that position. It's like 2 steps forward, you take a step back, as now you're cross-training your rookie second-round pick from Kansas State.
Have to get to the Broncos 44. Another problem with the snap, but good job by Hoyer. Here comes Jaquiz Rogers. Gets across midfield, and he's very close to the first down. Great job by Hoyer and Jaquiz Rogers. Pickup of 20 on the play.
This is where he's dangerous, is third down. Very high snap again by Grasu, but this is a veteran quarterback.
Not Grasu.
Or excuse me, with Cody White here, because you look at him, and again, Hoyer does not panic. Little screen pass to Jaquiz, and this is what he's known for. He had over 1,100 yards as an Atlanta Falcon. He is dangerous out of the backfield on third downs.
Bears going for it on 4th and 3. We got Braverman and Bellamy to the right. Hoyer looking, under pressure, they got him. Third sack of the game for the Broncos. They sacked Jay Cutler twice, and there's the veteran.
He's looking for Daniel Braverman in the slot down here. You see him working, goes inside, and then returns. Tough play.
Bears turn it over on downs. in their own territory, trailing 10-0. Broncos lead the Bears 10-0. Here at Soldier Field in Chicago, the opening preseason game. Bears will be at New England most of next week. They'll practice 2 days with the Patriots and then play Thursday. They'll practice Monday and Tuesday and play the Patriots in Foxborough Thursday.
Well, it's a really good opportunity because think about, like Jay Cutler, you don't even get a 2-minute drill in the preseason. Those type of, when you do those joint practices, you can work on specific situations beneficial for both ball clubs.
Flag on the play. Simeon puts it up deep, and it is knocked down, incomplete, almost intercepted by Deion Bush. Another fourth-round draft pick of the Bears.
Have to see there's flag on the play here.
Offsides. Defense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Keith Browner, defensive end, who's called on the offside. They get a 1st and 5 for the Broncos. Good coverage. We're seeing the young draft picks, the defensive backs of the Bears, getting tested in this game, and they're handling it pretty well.
Deion Bush was in on that play, number 26 from Miami. He's a top draft pick at 4th round. He has a ton of range and highly athletic.
Good gain on the play by Ronnie Hillman, but it'll be negated. A flag on the play back in the Broncos backfield.
Holding
call.
Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Darian Weems, the offensive tackle, called on it. So 1st and 5 will turn into 1st and 15 for the Broncos. As we see a little sloppy play, a little rough play here.
Well, I think players getting a little chippy, too. I saw number 79, Terry Williams. He's a first-year player out of East Carolina. He was on the practice squad in 2015. It's a hot night. Sam, you get a little bit chippy on these type of nights, and it gets tiring with this much humidity.
Christian Jones, number 52. Leonard Floyd, number 94, the outside linebackers. Here, Simeon running out of trouble. He runs very well. Good fake, and he steps out of bounds at the Bears 31. But there's a flag back in the Denver backfield, a gain of 16. That's one of the things they really like about Simeon is his running ability.
Very good athlete. Very good athlete out of Northwestern and what they can do. And it'll be interesting what this calls. So I saw Leonard Floyd do another spin move, and I wonder if it was the player blocking him. It's twice now he's shown that pass move.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Holding, defense. Holding, offense. Those penalties will offset. First down.
All right. We'll replay first down.
Here's Floyd. Here he comes. But he gets by, spins the move, now comes out of it. Probably the holding was on another player, but you can see him trying to work because he's known for speed. You can't be a one-trick pony in the NFL. He's going to have to lock out. He's going to have to bull rush. He's going to have to rip. He's going to have to swim. And twice he's worked on that spin move tonight.
1st and 15. Bears put pressure on. The pass complete to Latimer. Slips one man and another. Latimer brought down at the close to the 25, making the 26-yard line by Jacoby Glenn. A pickup of 21 on the play and a first down for Denver.
Couple of missed tackles. Again, a lot of press, man, by the Bears. You see Hall in coverage there. Timu, he's got to make that tackle right there. Missed tackling. Again, it's hard. A lot of teams are shying away from going live in training camp. And this is really their first action other than a scrimmage at the Fan Fest the Bears had a week ago.
Latimer's done a good job. There's DeAndre Hall, the rookie 4th-round pick out of Northern Iowa. First down, Broncos at the Bears 26. Simeon with time, throwing short to Booker. The running back out of the backfield. He slipped a tackle and gets down to the 17-yard line. Keith Browner with the stop. A gain of 9 on the play. Gary Kubiak was 12-4 in his first season as head coach of the Denver Broncos and took his team all the way to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl as a player as a Denver Bronco and Super Bowl as a coach. Really a phenomenal season when you think they only had 19 touchdown passes and the #1 defense in the National Football League. So really managed that quarterback position really, really well. in 2015.
Devontae Booker gets down to the 12-yard line, but there's a flag on the play. Back at the 20.
Tripping, offense number 60, 10-yard penalty, second down.
The officials really going to be aware in 2016 of things like tripping. The cut block rule is new in the NFL where you can't, if you're double teaming a defensive lineman, you can't disengage and then chop a linebacker who's flowing or the defensive end to flow into the football. So it's going to be much different here in 2016. They call it point of emphasis. It's always the point of emphasis.
Right. That means the officials will be looking at it.
How about calling it like you see it, Sam?
Point of emphasis. Ball back at the 28-yard line. Here's Devontae Booker. Picks up a couple of blocks and works his way down close to the 25. Bring up a 3rd and long. They have to get to the 16-yard line for a first down. Keith Browner with another tackle. Sam Acho re-signed by the Bears. Always an active linebacker. Good backup linebacker, but an excellent special teams player as well.
He's very versatile and smart as a whip. I mean, he can play basically any position of the backer positions if he's called into duty. And then being a backup, he is going to provide special teams help as well. Smart football player.
There's 3rd and 9 for the Broncos. Christian Jones, Sam Acho on the outside. Pressure coming. Simeon puts it up deep and overthrows Cody Latimer. Deion Bush and DeAndre Hall on the coverage for the Bears, both 4th-round draft picks.
It's quarter, half coverage, but DeAndre Hall likes to flow with the receiver all the way down the field and has the safety help by Bush. So 3 times he's been challenged and 3 times he's walled it off. He's having a pretty good night right now.
44-yard field goal try by Brandon McManus. Britton Colquitt on the hold. And the kick on the way, hooks through, just got inside the upright. And the second field goal of the game for McManus gives the Broncos a 13-0 lead. This, as we talked about right at the top, about John Fox's second year, and Luke Cadella sat down with him and asked him about the difference being the head coach in this second year.
Anybody that was on the team a year ago should be a year better. You know, we were very young. I think, you know, one of the things that I didn't quite realize maybe when I took the job was the conversion of being the oldest team in the roster in the National Football League to now one of the youngest. Well, there's some growing pains involved in that. It's not an excuse, it's just a reality. And I think the last year was the growing pains. And I think those young players that did play, you know, quite a bit are going to be a year better. And then plus the guys we've plugged in that, you know, on paper, we think are better.
They certainly made changes in the type of personnel they brought in. Faster, more athletic, stronger, maybe a little bit meaner.
Well, yeah, tough-minded football players, exactly what John Fox wants, and high-character guys. And, you know, he mentioned those growing pains. You've had a year of evaluations of players you coached a year ago. You know exactly who can do what and who can't do other things and what you're going to ask them to do. So they're just much further along in their evaluations. Granted, they still have more evaluations with the players that they added, but there are no quick rebuilds. I mean, it's going to take time with where the Bears were and just how poorly the personnel that doesn't fit what John Fox wants to do. They're starting to acquire those players.
McManus kicks it off. Deontay Thompson from the goal line. Gets across the 20 to the 21. Let's take a look at the key acquisitions by the Bears in the offseason. Brian Hoyer is the backup quarterback. Akeem Hicks on the defensive line. Freeman and Trevathan, we talked about them at inside linebackers. Players that they lost, well, of course, Matt Forte, who was here for 8 years. Shea McClellan, linebacker who's gone to New England. Martellus Bennett, also gone to New England. Matt Slauson, Jamon Bushrod, the offensive tackle. Bushrod got hurt and was replaced by Charles Leno, and Leno has done a nice job.
When you look at Leno, he never gave him that job back. He has performed outstanding. at the left tackle spot. Slauson is a big loss, but I think when you look at the acquisitions that they've made, they really outweigh what they lost in free agency.
Hoyer is sacked for the second time, fourth sack of the game for the Broncos. The Bears have Cornelius Edison in its center, first-year man out of Portland State, number 60. He was working at center throughout training camp. Martin Wallace, number 64, the right guard. Donovan Williams, the left guard. 2nd and 20. The handoff inside. And a late flag on the play. Kadeem carried the football, number 25. And let's check out the flag. We've had a lot of flags thus far in the first half.
It'll be a hold. Already got a lot of offensive linemen rotating. I think the Bears are a little worried. They don't want to get Cody.
Offense number 60. That penalty is declined. Third down.
That was Cornelius Edison, who's in at center.
Whitehair was guilty of it, and I think they're being cautious not to get him hurt with Larson, and they need Whitehair healthy for the year. And now Edison getting a shot, who's really the only legitimate center. It just comes with no playing experience and gets the early hold right up the middle on that run by Kadeem Carey.
3rd and 15. We come to the 2-minute warning in the first half. Broncos scored a touchdown early. They've kicked 2 field goals here in the second quarter, and they lead the Bears 13-0. Join Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer, and Lou Cadellas for Bears Game Day Live, brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. during the regular season on Fox 32, Chicago. That's a good threesome. They know their football. Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer do a great job on the radio. And Lou Cadellas, he's got it all covered. 3rd and 15. Hoyer throws it to the ground as he was being pressured on the play by Jared Crick.
Well, it's the 4th 3rd and long for the Bears, and he needs the tackle's got to hold up. Specifically, the left tackle Gary Williams. Minimum of 2 count. You can't just let the defensive end run right past you. You got no shot on a screen pass.
Pat Donnelly's gotten a lot of work in this game. Back to punt. Aaron Brewer is the long snapper. Donnelly kicking from about his own 5, and it's blocked. And it rolls into the end zone and is covered for a touchdown. So special teams.
It's the wing.
Let the Bears down.
DeAndre Houston Carson needs to stiffen on the wing. The defender goes underneath him, and then the punt gets blocked. Young draft pick who's going to be counted on in special teams moments this year.
Zaire Anderson on the recovery for the touchdown for the Bears, but there's Donnelly having the hand get through. And the Broncos have opened up a 19-0 lead. The 33-yard extra point try by Brandon McManus is good. It's 20-0.
The kick is good. Score the Broncos 20, the Bears 0.
Not a good first half for the Bears.
Sloppy on offense, bad on 3rd downs. Granted, the first weren't in there very long for Chicago, but you have to figure out the offensive line situation because you've had injuries through training camp and, just the small things that you have to tighten up. But this is where you experiment. You put players like a young draft pick and DeAndre Houston Carson. He's a 6th-rounder. They're seeing if he's able to do it. It's their first time under the lights with live bullets, and you got to see how they react. I think Hall has performed well when he's had his opportunities in the defensive area, but certainly areas they need to clean up.
Kieran Duncan, rookie out of Colorado State Pueblo, number 85, is back deep along with Kadeem Carey. There's Duncan, undrafted free agent. This is one of those games you look at a lot of players, as Jim mentioned, in live action. And see how they hold up, how they perform.
It's how you make honest evaluations. You really need to project what's going to happen in a real live game situation and find out if a player can do it. You know, a play like that.
Now the live kickoff, that kickoff goes through the end zone, and a change in the rules gives the Bears the ball at the 25. One of the key things John Fox has talked with us about is improvement in the division. Last year they were 1-5 in the NFC North. They lost a couple of tough ones to the Vikings. They beat the Packers, lost to the Lions twice.
Lost a lot of close games. Got the big win up in Green Bay. That was Brett Favre night. Don't think the Bears weren't happy about that one, but they lost close games. I go specifically the home game here at Soldier Field against Minnesota, and Trell Roll makes an interception. The Bears pull out a victory, so they lost 6 games really in close matchups. That's where they need to get better, to finish and come out and find a way to win.
3 wide receivers in. Hoyer throws on first down into traffic. The ball was tipped and was caught on the deflection by Kadeem Carey. A 15-yard pickup.
Heady play by Carey. Tight window for Hoyer to throw to. He's trying to pump the curl route here. You see the linebacker buzzing outside. Corner dropped off, and that's what tipped it and made it difficult. But Carey, wise to keep his eye on the ball.
Hurry up offense. Hoyer, quick release. The catch by Bellamy, and he shoved out of bounds just short of midfield. So the Bears in the 2-minute offense moving the ball. Ball spotted up at the 48-yard line. A minute to go in the first half. All receivers out. Hoyer throwing short to Braverman. Try to fight off the tackle. Gets just across midfield and is just short of the first down. And the Bears call a timeout.
Well, let's just talk the situation. You got some young players out. This is a good evaluation period right here. It's 2 minutes. The game's not out of reach. You got 13 points, and you've got younger players like Braverman in there. Obviously, the ball bounced off his chest earlier, and Kadeem Carey gets it. You're getting to see him in a 2-minute situation. Does he know his plays? Does he know the situation? The lineman, if they get a blitz. Right now, you're probably not going to get a blitz because you just crossed the 50. But you have to be aware for that. Are your offensive linemen going to be aware of that if it happens? You got a veteran quarterback in Brian Hoyer getting everything organized, but do these players understand this situation, and can they come out with points? You work these situations in practice, but now it's for real, even though the scoreboard won't matter at the end of the game.
So the offensive coordinator, Dowell Loggins, upstairs. 3rd and less than a yard. Kadeem Carey trying to get outside, cutting it back, and gets a first down at the Broncos 45. And another timeout used by the Bears. 44 seconds remaining in the half. Bears have 1 timeout remaining. And I like the way Hoyer's moved the team and thrown the football. A couple of plays have been called back by penalties, but Hoyer's looked sharp to me.
He's a pro's pro. He's broken into the NFL right. He was an undrafted free agent rookie backing up Tom Brady, so he's well coached by Bill Belichick. Bounced around the league, Pittsburgh, Arizona, and then shows up on Cleveland's doorsteps, gets an opportunity to play. And last year in Houston, led a team to the playoffs. And he's great in any capacity. As a starter, if he has to fill in, he can win games. As a backup, he's a great sounding board for your starting quarterback. And he's an unselfish guy. He's not a me guy. And that's why John Fox added him to the roster. But he's the perfect guy to bring these young players along. They run the ball, they get the first down. Typically in a 2-minute drill, you'll take your first time out about 1:10. Right at 44, they took their second. They'll probably take their third right around 25-20.
3 wide receivers, tight end Rob Hausler, all receivers out. Hoyer in trouble. Ball's knocked loose. The Bears recover. Back at their own 44-yard line. 5th sack of the game for Denver.
There's Wallace or Williams just getting worked at the right guard position, and you just need more pass protection than that. You got to be stiffer and more stout at the point of attack. Edison does a good job with the double team, but now the right guard's on an island right there. for the Chicago Bears. And Martin Wallace struggled. He's got to get lower with his pad level to have a chance. He got too high. Once you get too high, now you start to bend over. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. He had no shot. Low man wins. Low man wins, Sam.
You got it. Martin Wallace. That is Von Miller, who's not playing tonight, the MVP of the Super Bowl. And they'll be counting on him with a transition on offense for Denver. Defense will have to keep them in the games and perhaps win some games. Hoyer gets time and throws deep off the hands of Thompson, intercepted. The interception by Lorenzo Doss, and the Bears turn it over.
Hoyer had time to throw on that particular play, tries to step up into it, just has to bring it down. Follow through and snap it off just a little too high. Hits his fingertips. Not going to give him an excuse. Thompson needs to bring it down as well, but just a little bit out of his reach, maybe mistimed his jump. Hoyer had it tough because it's a zone coverage. You're trying to throw it over the linebackers and before the safeties. Difficult drop-in football, but you can make that play in the NFL.
Final seconds of the first half. Trevor Siemian remains in at quarterback for the Broncos. The pass completed. Short pickup to Jeff Hireman, the tight end. Hireman coming back from an injury, and they have high hopes that he will be an important receiver for them at tight end.
He's a good-looking tight end out of Ohio State. Good inline blocker. Unfortunately for him, he gets the knee injury. That's why Gary Kubiak had to bring in Owen Daniels late in the season. He's finally off, so he's getting quality work here this preseason. But Gary Kubiak is very high on what Hireman's going to be able to do because it's tight end predicated in Denver and how they run things.
Jonathan Anderson.
Brzezinski in there at safety.
There's Chris Brzezinski, 60-year man out of Wyoming, picked up, was with Philadelphia prior to coming to the Bears. Siemian throws incomplete, intended once again for Hireman. 13 seconds remaining in the first half. Broncos took the opening kickoff of the game, the opening possession. Went 76 yards for a touchdown. Bears have not been able to do much offensively in the game. The starters went the first quarter, 3 possessions, and no first downs for Jay Cutler and the Bears. 1 first down, excuse me, for the first unit. Leonard Floyd, number 94, is in the game. Pressure from the outside by Christian Jones. And that pass is caught along the sideline. With 5 seconds remaining. That's Cornelius Washington hurting. 22-yard pickup. Jordan Taylor on the reception.
Well, it looked like Washington had Trevor Siemian dead to rights in the backfield. He snakes his way out of there and rolls to his right, makes a big play. Washington's hurt. He's down on the ground.
And testing out. Good to see him walking off under his own power. Looks like a rib problem. Brian Hoyer checking out the tablet. Boy, Jim, the times have changed, huh?
Well, the big discussion is were they going to allow, the players and the coaches have the ability to replay the plays right there on the sideline. And a lot of coaches are against that. They're somewhat old school, and they're going to try it out and test it here through the preseason. And we'll see what happens from the league office.
Broncos in position to attempt a field goal. This will be a 48-yard try for Brandon McManus as we come to the end of the first half. And it's blocked. And this time the Bears special teams come through with a good play. And the return as Devontae Bosby able to field the ball and try to bring it back. But we've come to the end of the first half, and the Bears, a little pushing and shoving. Here's the block.
Preseason. He snuck in over the wing. So it's just pressure or right pressure. The Bears executed beautifully, and Jeff Rodgers got to be pretty happy to end the half that way.
Rough first half for the Bears as they start their preseason action. The Broncos have made the best plays in the first half and lead the Bears 20-0. We've got the halftime report coming up next. Over Chicago as we get set for the second half here at Soldier Field. Opening preseason game, and the Broncos lead the Bears 20-0. It got off to a bad start as the Broncos took the opening kickoff and marched 76 yards. But this is a game for finding out about a lot of players, and we've seen a lot of players thus far, Jim.
Absolutely, and I think that's where the evaluations come from. But clearly, pass protection issue, 5 sacks on the Bears quarterbacks. And then you look at them on third down. 1 of 7 on third downs. That needs to be improved. That's an area where they struggled last year. It's early. You're going to be mixing and matching a lot of guys out there. And last but not least, special teams. Obviously, get a punt block right before the half there. That's problematic. So those 3 phases the Bears need to work on and correct this second half.
Getting set for the second half, the Bears, who deferred on the opening kickoff, will receive the kickoff to start the second half. Sonoris Perry, number 32. B.J. Daniels, number 1, back deep for the Bears. Brandon McManus's kick goes through the end zone, and again, the new rule this year, on a touchback, the ball is placed at the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at the first half statistics. And as we mentioned, it'll show largely in favor of the Denver Broncos. Passing yardage, total yards, 216 to 78. And 5 sacks by the Broncos, 2 on Jay Cutler, 3 on Brian Hoyer. And David Fales, the second-year man out of San Jose State, is in at quarterback. From the 25, Kadeem Carey dropped for a loss back to the 22-yard line. Fales is 25 years old. He was a 6th-round draft pick in 2014. And you see some preseason numbers from last year where he played pretty well.
Played impressive. He had an illness leading up all the way to the last preseason game. Really showed his worth enough to make the team. But he's bounced back and forth between the practice squad. And he's in a little bit of a battle now with Connor Shaw, who the Bears brought in. Obviously, he has ties to Dowell Loggins, the offensive coordinator, with his days in Cleveland.
Cannon Sinclair, the tight end, was in motion off the play fake. Fails his hit as he throws. And the ball dropped by Josh Bellamy. The ball was there.
He knows.
Dakota Watson on the hit on the quarterback.
Good delivery. Play action pass, gets a 7-step drop, really drives it, knows he's going to get hit, and you got to be able to make that throw when you're getting pressured. He did. Good move. Did everything right. You just got to catch it. By definition, that's why you're out there. You're a wide receiver, and Bellamy knows he let that one get away from him.
3rd and 13 for the Bears. Daniel Braverman, Joshua Bellamy in at wide receivers, along with Cameron Meredith. Meredith for the right side, number 81. Fales, steps up, throws to Carey, and Carey is taken down at the 27-yard line. Short of the first down. And the Bears will be forced to punt. Kadeem Carey, one of those backs who's fighting for a job on this team.
He's really a hammerhead. When he had his opportunities last year, he got in 79 attempts on the year, got positive yardage, and I think he brings an attitude. I think John Fox really, his player wore on him because of just his hard running. He earned those opportunities in Chicago, and plus, the ability to play special teams again. Really wasn't a special teamer, but started to sit in on the special teams meetings, earned some opportunities there, and got to return a couple of kick returns as well.
Patrick Scales, the long snapper. Pat O'Donnell with a good high punt Braylon Addison on the return for Denver is brought down at the 43-yard line. 42-yard punt, 12-yard return. Broncos with a football. When we come back, Bears trailing 20-0.
For a limited time, purchase specially marked 12 packs of Miller Lite and receive a free Chicago Bears sweatshirt. Miller Lite, the official beer of your Chicago Bears. It's Miller time.
Get to the heart of Chicago sports with Lou Canellis, the Sports Insider. Complete Bears coverage and the stories that matter to hometown sports fans only on Fox 32 Chicago. New quarterback for the Broncos, first-round draft pick Paxton Lynch. Off the play fake, being chased by Sam Acho, and Acho got a piece of him. Lynch goes down. Broncos traded up a couple of spots to draft Paxton Lynch in the first round. He is their quarterback of the future.
A lot of people were talking about his talent. He's unique, played in a high up-tempo offense at Memphis, and he's got John Elway-like skill. What do I mean by that? In his personal workout, he rolled to his left, put his foot in the ground, and launched it 70 yards across field. He has high upside, but very raw in terms of his talent.
Dallas was sitting there ready to take him, and Denver hopped over him on the deal and drafted Paxton Lynch. This is Devontae Booker, and a good play up front by Leonard Floyd, the guy the Bears moved up to draft first.
Way to close.
Expect so much out of him.
Yeah, really nice job. Close. Sees the tight end blocking down. Just close. He knows it's going to be an inside zone run. Close. He read it perfectly, and he's the unblocked man. He makes the tackle, and that's a really nice heads-up play by Leonard Floyd.
3rd and 7 for the Broncos. 5 defensive backs in for the Bears with Jacoby Glenn at one corner and DeAndre Hall the other. Lynch in trouble, taken down for a loss. First sack of the game for the Bears, John Timu. Second sack of the game for the Bears. John Timu gets the sack.
Little blitz right there, man coverage held up, so technically you would say that's a coverage sack. So Timu, they bring a little heat, and the guys did their job on the back end.
And Washington, who was shaken up, Cornelius Washington, good to see him back in the game. And okay, Daniel Braverman is back deep to receive the punt from Britton Colquitt. Braverman at the 10 is grabbed, tried to get away, and is dropped back inside the Bears' 10-yard line. 45-yard punt for Colquitt. Bears on offense for the second time in the second half when we come back.
North Shore isn't just here for you now. They're helping you be ready for what's next. North Shore University Health System. Healthcare for what's next.
Jordan Howard is in the game. 5th-round draft pick out of Indiana. Prior to that, a couple of years at UAB. But the Bears think they've got a good one in Jordan Howard.
They did. UAB discontinued their football program. Kevin Wilson, head coach at IU, recruits him. He transfers there. 3,700 yards later and 24 touchdowns. This guy is a bruiser.
Fails on the play fake. Looks to put it up. And the pass was batted down. Howard is a strong back, 6 feet, 222, 21 years old. As we mentioned, a 5th-round draft pick out of Indiana, and he was as good as there was in the Big Ten.
He's going to carve out a niche. Probably early it's going to be short yardage goal line as the banger, but he's quicker. He's more of a traditional running back in the NFL. I think when his career's all said and done, he's going to be a lead bell cow. That would be my opinion of him. He is way underrated, and why was there still in the 5th round? The Bears got a steal in drafting that player from IU.
Cameron Meredith motion. Here's Howard. And is dropped on his first carry. Good penetration on the play by Dakota Watson, 7th-year man out of Florida State, picked up as a free agent by the Broncos. There's the numbers on Jordan Howard that Jim mentioned.
Well,
I love that 24 touchdowns.
Well, if you've ever watched IU football, Kevin Wilson runs a high up-tempo offense. They literally run a play every 16 seconds. This guy never came off the field. That's demanding, at least, you know, when you talk about your conditioning and how many plays you have to run in a game. This guy never came out. He's like the Energizer Bunny, just going and going, give me the ball again, and he's making play after play. And they lost a couple of tough games. Ohio State, obviously the one in the Big House last year. He had a monster game, over 200 and some odd yards. It was a big factor, and unfortunately they fell a little short in the Big House.
There's 3rd and 10. Darius Kilgo, the nose tackle, went off, shaken up for the Broncos. Fails out of the shotgun. Sends all receivers out. He's in trouble. They got him for a safety. So the Broncos have scored on a blocked punt. They've scored their own touchdown on a pass, and now they've scored on a safety.
6th sack of the night for the Broncos. Protection has been an issue up front for Chicago, and you see it again. But as a quarterback, you cannot pack it. The guy comes in free. You've got to know to throw it away, not take the safety. He knows right there. You got to have awareness. You can't throw it out when you're in the end zone. But he was well in front of the goal line. If you know it's an issue, get rid of it. Nothing wrong with punting the football rather than giving up 10 points. Or 2 points, excuse me.
Dakota Watson has spent a lot of time in the Bears' backfield in this game. Broncos lead at 22-0. That's Leonard Floyd. He's seen some good action in this, his first NFL appearance. David Fales, after being sacked in the end zone for the safety. Got some help from the veteran quarterbacks as Jake Cutler and Brian Hoyer joined him on the sideline and talked over things.
It's the
Pat
hardest
Donnelly to kick it away.
It's the hardest thing for a young quarterback. You sit in there and you think you can make a play, and sometimes the only play is just to throw the football away.
Raylan Addison on the return for Denver. And he's brought down as he crosses the 30-yard line. Return of 23. Some rule changes that we want to get you familiar with. On kickoffs, touchbacks will be brought out to the 25-yard line. A lot of preseason, you'll see teams just want to work on their coverage and return, so they'll kick off short. They don't want the touchbacks.
Yeah, I think when you talk to, at least I've talked to a lot of special teams coaches around the league, it's going to have a lot of unintended consequences. That 5 yards is a lot. They want to try and tackle you inside the 20, so you may see more returns rather than less in terms of safety for the players.
Capri Bibbs, number 35, on the carry for Denver, gains 12 on the play. Saw the ejection rule on 2 personal fouls.
Coaches are against it. The owners are for it. Obviously, it was Aqib Talib of the Denver Broncos. He got 2 early personal fouls in the Super Bowl last year, and Roger Goodell, wanting to take control. A couple games got out of control, specifically that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game in the wild card round of the playoffs, trying to curtail some things from an emotional standpoint.
Cornelius Washington with a good play to drop Bibbs for a loss. There's Aqib Talib on the sideline.
Great third down defense where the Broncos really thrive. They've got 3 corners. When you look at Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, who's a Pro Bowler, Bradley Roby has really developed out of Ohio State and allows them, Wade Phillips, to be so aggressive up front with his blitzes. Good cover corner in Aqib Talib.
2nd and 11. Paxton Lynch throwing and completes it to Latimer. First down the Bears' 40-yard line. The young defensive backs getting a lot of action. That was Deion Bush, the safety out of University of Miami, on the stop. So good game experience for the draft picks, the 4th-round picks, Bush, Hall. Very important playing time for them. 6th-round pick, DeAndre Houston Carson, was in earlier. Lynch gets rid of it quickly to Cody Latimer down to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 10, another first down.
Quick decision by Paxton Lynch. Learning a pro-style offense, far different what he was running at Memphis, and John Elway thinks he's going to be ready earlier rather than later. So you potentially could see him by the end of the season.
Really?
Tough coverage right there. It's just a man underneath, man free underneath. And you can see Vic Fangio really testing these corners on the outside. He's put them on an island and really testing their cover skills.
On 1st and 10, Capri Bibbs taking it outside. No gain on the play. Sam Acho helped disrupt it. And the tackle by Ego Ferguson, number 95. Ego in his 3rd season was injured last year and missed most of last season.
Rough season, like you mentioned, with the injury. He's starting to come on, getting stronger against second year in Vic Fangio's defense. And Will Sutton now comes off. Here's another young player trying to fit in on what is going to be a very competitive front seven. They're fighting for their roster lives, would be my opinion.
Lynch at 6'7", 244. Devontae Booker in at running back. On 2nd down, drops it off to Booker. Slips one man, is brought down by Devontae Hurst. Number 30, flag on the play.
Holding. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Leonard Floyd getting a lot of early work. Again, he's got a great first step coming off, lowers his shoulder. There's the hold on Leonard Floyd. So again, I think his speed shows right there. He'll work in more pass moves, and there's Vic Fangio. They've been impressed with what they've seen. He had an early illness in camp and then had the shoulder, but they've thrown him right in there, and he's getting a lot of playing time tonight.
He is fast around the edge. Lynch throws, completes it. And coverage on the play by DeAndre Hall takes him out of bounds. That was DeVere Posey on the reception.
First round pick of the night. See him as extension. He's got a lot of length to him where you can get the extension, but good first quick step right there. Does a little swim move on the inside. Working on that. We saw a spin move earlier in the half as well. Closes down on an inside zone run. Perfect read by him. So he's getting it. School hard knocks, and the only way to get better and hone your craft is to get out there and play football, and he's been doing it tonight.
6'4", 240. With great speed. And they expect him to provide big-time pass rush. Here's 3rd down for the Broncos. Quick outside.
Nice tackle.
And a good play by Devontae Hurst. It was DeVere Posey. And Hurst on the stop.
Nice job rallying up and tackling his space. Again, so many teams they're just worried. You want to get to the season healthy, and you don't have those live tackling drills during training camp anymore, other than probably a couple of scrimmages. But that was a great open field tackle by Hurst right there.
46-yard field goal try for Brandon McManus. He's 2 for 2 in the game. And this one is good. Off the bar and went back out. Hit the upright and went the other way. I thought he had a little draw on it, Jim, that it was going to hook in, but it hit the upright and bounced away. So the Bears get the break. The field goal try is no good.
Bears preseason football is sponsored by FanDuel, McDonald's of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana, Advocate Healthcare, Bob's Discount Furniture, and Verizon.
Don't miss a moment of Bears football on NFL Mobile, exclusively from Verizon, the official wireless provider of the Chicago Bears. Airtime, message, and data rates may apply. On 1st down, Fails in trouble, gets away, and his pass is out of bounds. Bellamy made the catch, but he was out of bounds when he came down with the football.
So that's gather his feet right there. It's a bootleg naked, so he's exposed. Obviously, that's why it's called as naked. The end man on the line of scrimmage is not blocked, but he ducked underneath, and then you saw the linebacker scraping right there by Denver. You just got to keep your cool when you're rolling to your right and throwing downhill. It's right foot, and that way you can throw on balance and and he couldn't gather his feet to get it quite coordinated correctly for
Rob
Fales.
Hausler is the tight end. Here is Jordan Howard on the carry. Up across the 40-yard line. A pickup of 5 on the play.
Good hard running right there by Jordan Howard, right up the gut. And this guy he can carry 2 or 3 tacklers. It's going to take a couple guys to bring him down when he runs downhill. Because even though it was a spread offense there at IU, a lot of inside zone runs, a lot of outside zone runs where he really just gets one cut and gets upfield, and he carried a lot of tacklers.
I think we'll see him a lot in short yardage and goal line, Jim. Fales pointing out the defense on 3rd and 5. All receivers out. The blitz on, and they got him. 7th sack of the game for the Denver Broncos. Second one on Fales. Will Parks, rookie out of Arizona. Well, they've been using that safety blitz all night.
And typically that's something that's game plan, but they're throwing some different looks. You still got to be able to protect it and be ready for it. And as a quarterback, you got to, know where your hots are. And so if he recognizes it's unblocked, and I don't know what blocking assignment they were in there, it didn't look like anybody made a mistake. He was just the unblocked defender, so the quarterback has to throw it away in that situation.
Pat Donnelly on the punt. Raylan Addison from the 11-yard line on the return for Denver. And a good tackle. Oh, let's see. Flags on the play. That was Peterson, I believe. We have duplicate numbers. That looked like Kevin Peterson, a defensive back, rookie out of Oklahoma State.
During the return, legal block in the back, receiving team number 59. Penalty is, of course, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
So, good play by, it was actually Kadeem Carey on the tackle. Good play by him, plus the penalty.
Is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Sam Rosen, Jim Miller, Luke Canellis here at Soldier Field. First preseason game of 4 that we'll be bringing you on the Chicago Bears Network next Thursday night in Foxborough at New England. That's offense against defense. Kyle Long and Akeem Hicks talking about play, line play. Here is Paxton Lynch throwing on first down, and the catch made by DeVere Posey, fourth-year man out of Ohio State, a pickup of 13 on the play. Broncos with a 22-0 lead.
Paxton Lynch, he just has a rifle for an arm. I mean, he's launched it about 7 yards here. He's Long trying to coach up some blocking techniques right there. He's good at it, 3-time Pro Bowler.
He's talking to a big man, Akeem Hicks, so there's got to be some good conversation about blocking and inside moves and outside moves.
The philosophers.
That was an important signing. Hicks is a big man. Look at the size. He'll be very important on the defensive line for the Bears. At the 31-yard line, 2nd and 6. Blitz coming. Lynch rolls away from it, and good pickup on the play. Out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Boy, he runs well.
He really does for a big man. Here's Akeem Hicks. Interesting route to the National Football League. And, he ended up in Regina and Saskatchewan and, comes down to the NFL. And the New Orleans Saints had first dibs at him. And that's where Ryan Pace really had the background with Mickey Loomis and the New Orleans Saints. Then he gets traded to the New England Patriots. Played phenomenal last year as a 5 technique and a run stuffer in Bill Belichick's 3-4 defense. He is a terrific fit in Vic Fangio's 3-4, but an interesting way to the National Football League. Great player.
I have to correct you, though. It's Regina, Saskatchewan.
Excuse me.
That's a hockey town.
Well, you know a little bit about that since that's why you're being inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Because I know Regina, Saskatchewan, huh?
No, I'm not brushed up on my Canadian. Trust me, Sam.
But it's a great story. The guy comes out of Regina, Saskatchewan, makes it to the NFL.
And it's a credit to him. I mean, Cameron Wake, there's been a lot of players. Manitoba has been a hot spot, too. for players entering the National Football League. But Sam, congratulations.
Oh,
That's
thanks,
a tremendous honor for you to be in the NHL Hall of Fame.
And Lynch gets away after 2 hits, and finally he's put down. Cornelius Washington helps finish, so does Christian Jones.
Good work inside. Nice job by Washington. You saw him. He beat his one-on-one. That's all you can ask. You beat your one-on-one matchup, beats the guard easily on the inside, condenses the pocket, especially when it's an interior rush. The pocket becomes suffocating for a quarterback, and that's exactly what Paxton Lynch was thinking right there.
3rd sack of the game for the Bears. Late 3rd quarter. Washington to the sideline. 3rd and 15 for the Broncos. Draw play to Bibbs. Capri Bibbs is brought down as he gets to the 45-yard line by DeAndre Houston Carson, a rookie out of William and Mary, a 6th-round draft pick who's impressed the coaches at training camp.
Big physical guy, and I think you're right. He's a guy who they can play with as well. Is he a safety? Is he a corner? He's one of those tweeners that they're going to play with and see where he settles in. Special teams are always going to be good, but all 3 of those defensive backs they drafted, over 6 feet, longer, rangier, and that's what you want. They're bigger, physical, and more athletic as John Fox has gotten this team younger.
Riley Dixon with a line drive punt. Braverman bobbles and spins away. Brought down short of the 15-yard line. 41-yard punt. Next week, the Bears spend time in New England. They go to Foxborough. They will practice with the New England Patriots Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday night they'll play in Foxborough against the Patriots. North Shore University Health System presents Bears preseason football. Bears and the Patriots, 7 p.m. Central Time.
You get good work done during that week that we mentioned, and I think John Fox has been open to it. Indianapolis will also be a team, plenty of teams that work those joint practices, and it's just you get that situational play and things you're not necessarily going to get in a preseason game. I mentioned the 2-minute drill. That's really where you can make it matter when you have those joint practices against a different opponent.
David Fales with 3 wide receivers. Off the play fake. Fales with time, throws, and the catch by Bellamy. A first down up to 28-yard line. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Broncos add to their lead. It's 22-0 Denver as we play football for the first time in the preseason here in Chicago. Bears trailing, and we'll be right back. Back at Soldier Field in Chicago, getting set for the 4th quarter. The fans have hung in there on a warm, humid night.
Give them a lot of credit. It is. They're getting hydrated out there. And, from a player's perspective, it's tough when you get into these type of things in a preseason game because, in practice you may get, 3 or 4 reps in a row. But now if you get a 12-play drive, this is stuff that really tests you to prepare you for the season.
Jordan Howard going outside, flag on the play. And we'll check it out. Bears with Kari Lee, number 82, in at tight end. Jordan Howard, the running back.
There's no foul on the play for a chop block. Number 83 tripped and went to the ground on his own. Thank you.
Okay. Chop block, new rule. No chop blocks allowed.
New rule. Obviously, safety of players. Eventually, they want players to play from the waist up, I think is what they're trying to get to. But this could have unintended consequences as well. We'll get to the explanation in a minute here.
And for those who don't know, chop blocks are when a player is hit high and low.
2 offensive linemen are double teaming a defensive lineman, and then one goes low while the defender is engaged with one offensive lineman. So more for safety.
Here's Fales on 2nd down. The Bellamy goes to the ground at the 36. We go down to Lou Canellis along the sideline for his sideline report. Lou.
Hey, Sammy, Kadeem Carey always plays hard, whether he's running with the football or on special teams. We saw him come up with that big tackle. When he came back to the bench, team doctors looked at his head. He has now been taken to the locker room for concussion protocol.
Thanks for that update, Lou. The North Shore University Health System sideline report. Jordan Howard on the carry, gets enough for the first down up to the 39. Here's the play that Lou was talking about, that special teams hit.
He led with his shoulder. It's really good tackle. He gets his helmet across the thigh of the defender and going in to get a couple of tests for the concussion protocol. They're always going to do safety first, and that's been an emphasis by the league office as well.
There's Howard cutting it back and is stopped as he crosses the 40. Short pickup on the play.
You mentioned that chop block rule early, and a lot of offensive linemen that I've talked to and even coaches think that potentially could have unintended consequence because there is no umpire back by the linebackers where the official used to be. They now believe that a lot of those D linemen will get away with holding without having the chop block being able to be used in the NFL.
Fales had time. The hit on Howard jarred the ball loose. It's an incomplete pass. Howard unable to hold on, and that's something that's very important for Bears running backs. They need to catch the ball out of the backfield.
I think ultimately John Fox would like a bell cow, like when he had Stephen Davis down there in Carolina. But since then, even in Denver, it's been running back by committee. I think that's what he's going to try to utilize here, and somebody's got to take it. Somebody's got to take it that they can do everything. Catch the ball out of the backfield, block on third downs, and be the bell cow on first and second down when you need to pound it. And so right now it's going to be a stable of running backs.
On 3rd and 8, Sonoris Perry in at running back. The pass caught by Daniel Braverman, but short of the first down. That's a 46, and the Bears will be forced to punt.
Timing was off on the play, and Fales had to double clutch it there. I'm really impressed with Braverman. I think, granted, he's diminutive in stature, but he is, according, if you listen to their wide receiver coach, Curtis Johnson, he is explosive in and out of his breaks, and he believes he can play outside as well. People just project him as a slot. He says he believes he can do more than that. So we'll have to keep our eye on Braverman as the preseason continues.
O'Donnell on the kick, high punt. Addison waits for a fair catch, and he's got it on the 12-yard line. Good punt by Patrick O'Donnell, 42 yards, no return. The Bears still looking for a way to score. They're down 22-0.
For a limited time, purchase specially marked 12 packs of Miller Lite and receive a free Chicago Bears sweatshirt. Miller Lite, the official beer of your Chicago Bears. It's Miller time.
Watch Bears Game Night Live following the final word on Fox 32 Chicago every Sunday night during the regular season. Be sure to catch the special season preview edition Sunday, September 4th. Broncos start from the 12. And Booker on the carry. Excuse me, that's Capri Bibbs on the carry. There is Kevin White, who made his Bears debut after missing all of last season, having surgery, the first-round draft pick out of West Virginia. And the Bears have such high hopes that he and Alshon Jeffrey will be a great 1-2 combination.
Had one catch tonight. They get him involved, and people assume that he's just an ex-receiver. He's not. They're going to flip these guys. They'll flip them all around, and one guy will get featured every week. Who's ever the hot hand, they try to cover him. Then Dow Loggins will start to focus on getting the other receivers receptions. So here's his little hitch route that he caught earlier in the night in the first half. Jay Cutler in the shotgun, almost like a wide receiver screen is what they were trying to accomplish there. Gets upfield right away, but his size and speed, he can absolutely fly and take the top off a defense. Big, thick, so it's going to open up a lot of things. If you got Alshon on one side and you look at White on the other, should open up some things in the middle for Eddie Royal, the slot receiver. How about the tight end, Zach Miller? It really is going to affect coverage when you got two of those big guys on the outside.
There's Bibbs, and he's got a first down up at the 25-yard line. A close-up look at Kevin White, 7th pick overall out of West Virginia. Missed all of last season, had surgery for that stress fracture. They had Lawrence Screeton had that great halftime report on him.
and how much it means to him to be in the NFL and finally get to play.
I played with Curtis Conway. He was a great receiver as well. But I know it's disappointing for Bears fans that he missed his year. Of course, it's disappointing. But he's had a year to digest this offense, which is a hybrid between the New England Patriots and a West Coast offense of a Mike Shanahan. So that's nothing that he was ever exposed to at West Virginia. It was all foreign to him. So he's had a year to digest that. Like I said, getting his splits, his blocking assignments, things that he's going to be asked to do. And plus, he's going to learn two different positions. For him, it's really the X position, which is the weak side receiver position, and then the Z, which is the flanker where you got to be tougher at digging stuff out, meaning safeties and blocking. As we got unfortunately, an injured Bear down there on the field.
Cornelius Washington shaken up again. He was shaken up in the first half, but came back and it was okay. Now being checked out. Number 57 in the game is Layman Barrow, another free agent pickup in the offseason. Good special teams player, former Denver Bronco. We'll step out for a moment. Broncos with a big lead on the Bears. Ryan Hoyer 7 for 10, 81 yards, 1 interception. David Fales 4 for 8, 30 yards, 14 for 22 combined for the Bears quarterbacks.
Well, I think Jay looks very comfortable in this offense where he's at and being a leader of the team, earned the respect of John Fox, and really the one sack, it's a delayed safety blitz. That's not something you typically game plan in preseason game one. Hoyer had the issues at the center spot. Obviously, when Cody Whitehair had to go in there, some timing that screwed up on the shotgun snaps with his passing routes. Pretty close fingertip interception. And Fales has done a couple of good things where he sat in the pocket and delivered the football. The sack can't happen for a safety, no doubt about that. But for a young quarterback, learning as he plays.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 33. That penalty is declined. Result of play, first down.
Pass from Paxton Lynch to Jordan Taylor for 22 yards. And the ball up at midfield, first down for the Broncos. Tavise Calhoun is in at cornerback for the Bears, number 33, rookie out of Mississippi State. 3 bibs on the carry. We go to the sideline. Lou Canellis with Kyle Long. That's a good pair, Lou.
All right, Sammy, thanks very much. Assess the play of the first unit in the first quarter.
Obviously, in order to get a feel for how the game's going, you want to stay out there and you want to get as many plays as you
I'm sorry, we had some technical difficulties. We are going to try and get back to Lou with Kyle in just a moment. 2nd and 8 for the Broncos. Lynch puts it up deep and overthrows Jordan Taylor, who was well covered on the play by Joel Ross, who was picked up just a week and a half ago. Previously been with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a flag on the play. Been a lot of flags in this. And it's against Joel Ross. So I guess the coverage was too good.
Tampa Bay Bucks, he was on their practice squad a year ago and getting an opportunity here for Chicago. Again, it's just to bring in competitiveness. You draft 3 DBs, you bring in, re-sign Tracy Porter, and so they're throwing bodies at the position, and he's getting an opportunity, but unfortunately a little bit too much hands. And typically that happens in preseason games. You're going to get your most flags, game one.
It was pass interference on the play, so the ball will be marked at the spot of the foul. And mark it down at the Bears' 28-yard line instead of illegal contact, which would have been a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down. This is pass interference and a first down for the Broncos at the Bears' 28-yard line. Juwan Thompson in at running back, number 40, on the carry. And the good stop up front by Ego Ferguson. Ferguson has been active. Lamine Barrow, number 57, also in on the play. Barrow's a third-year man out of LSU. Signed as a free agent. And again, expected to help out special teams, but also be a depth man at inside linebacker.
Jeff Rogers knows him well from Denver, and special teams is exactly it. And Ego, good job in contain right there. And if you're a Bears fan and you go back and watch this game, if you taped it, look at how much press man coverage is on the outside. Like Ross, every one of these corners have been tested from the first team to the third team guys to see if they can hold up on the outside.
Short drop by Lynch, and he completes it. And breaking away is a flag back at the 33-yard line. The completion was to Deron Neal, and he broke a tackle. All right, we're going to try again. We think we have Lou's microphone corrected. He's downstairs with Kyle Long. Take it away, Lou.
All right, Sam, take two. Assess the play of the first unit in that first quarter, Kyle.
You know, obviously throughout the course of a game, things can change. I remember playing the Broncos last year. We had a really crappy first few series. We couldn't get it rolling. But as the course of the game goes on, it's like a boxing match. Anything can happen. But, you know, this is the preseason. We got a lot of things we got to work on. We understand that. I got to be better. We have to be better. And we get that. And that's why we got 3 more preseason games.
The 7 quarterback sacks given up by the offensive line as a whole. How much did the loss of Furones just last week ruin the chemistry, and does it take a little time to get everyone working together again?
You know, I wouldn't say anything's ruined by any means. Obviously, 7 sacks we can't have that if we want to win football games. Obviously, Furones being out is tough, but we got guys, we got depth, so that's why we're paying these guys to play. That's why I'm paid to play, and we got to come out and win.
Do you put a lot of stock in this first quarter of the first game?
You know, obviously, as a competitor, you don't want to look up and see it 22-0 here halfway through the fourth, but you know, I know this group of guys, and I've been in some fights with this group here out on the field, and I know what they're made of, and we got to be better, and we understand that. We know what it's going to take.
Kyle, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Lou.
Sam?
All right. Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Kyle. As always, straightforward. You know, he knows and he's determined. He's become a big-time leader on this team. They're carting off Cornelius Washington. Meanwhile, Paxton Lynch being pressured on the play. Rolls away, looking. Bullard is there. The pass downfield incomplete. Good job by the Bears of putting pressure on Paxton Lynch.
Christian Jones, he got a lot of starts last year and unfortunately has been demoted. He's fighting for a roster spot, but the angle to the quarterback. You see the shotgun? He had him dead to rights. Got to make that play. Paxton Lynch is slithery for a big man and how he moves, but I believe Christian Jones can make that play.
The Bears force a punt. Kieran Duncan is back deep to receive the punt. Duncan, the rookie out of Colorado State Pueblo. Britton Colquitt with the high kick toward the sideline. It bounces along the sideline, and referee says it, or the official says it bounced out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Bears on offense. 6.5 minutes to go in the game. It's a new Good Day Chicago. Start your mornings with the new Good Day team. Weekdays at 4:30 a.m. on Fox 32 Chicago. Looks like Connor Shaw. Hi there. Looks like Connor Shaw is in the game, the 4th quarterback for the Bears. Second-year man out of South Carolina. Previously played with the Cleveland Browns. Sonoris Perry on the carry up to the 10-yard line. Okay, Twitter questions for you, Mr. Miller. Nick wants to know, do you think Langford could be as versatile as Matt Forte?
I think that's tough company to live up to. I do think he will get better as a receiver because he was a receiver at Michigan State. He had the most drops of any running back last year, 8 drops. So I think that's an area Langford typically has excelled at. He got a good introduction last year, but he plays with a lot of heart and doesn't get hurt a lot. He's going to be a good running back and part of this tandem of running backs in Chicago.
On 2nd and 9, Shaw to Perry. And Perry is hit across the 10, gets up to the 14-yard line. All right, another question for you. Tom Richardson wants to know, where do you think the Bears improved the most during the offseason?
Defense. Definitely on defense, Tom. I think Vic Fangio, I think the world of him as a defensive coordinator. They have what could be a ridiculous front 7 that could help out the back of the end of the secondary. And the Bears are not going to be an easy out for any football team. Their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games.
On 3rd and 4. Connor Shaw steps up, runs for it, first down. Good quick move, pickup of 7, first down. All right, Movie Tom wants to know, which Bears wide receivers do you expect to make the biggest difference on offense?
You got to go with Kevin White. Elshon, we know what he can do. It's a prove-it year under the franchise tag. I think everybody understands that. He's got to stay healthy. But Kevin White, man, this guy, the sky's the limit for what he could be. Curtis Johnson, his receivers coach who coached Andre Johnson at Miami, thinks he has that type of ability. And I tend to agree with him. His height, weight, and speed are something that you just cannot coach. And for him, if he has an impact, it's going to open up a lot of things in this Bears offense.
It's Darren Peterson on the reception, number 15, rookie out of Liberty, undrafted free agent, and a pickup of 14 on the play. Good throw by Connor Shaw.
He's a heady player. Had one start for the Cleveland Browns, had one interception in that game, but he makes good decisions. When to scramble, you saw him get the first down with his legs, and you're going to have to be able to do that. But he's settled in as a pro, and I think he feels comfortable in Logan's system.
High snap from Cornelius Edison. Shaw throwing outside. That's incomplete. Trying to get it to Kieran Duncan. Edison, the third center in the game for the Bears. Ted Larson started. Cody Whitehair followed him, and then Edison, after an early holding penalty, has held his own. He's done a nice job since then.
Yeah, shotgun snaps have been a problem, and this is really his first playing experience in the NFL, even if it is a preseason game. But, getting those shotgun snaps where the quarterback needs it, because it affects your drops. That was a deep comeback, and I think one of the reasons the snap wasn't perfect and why Connor Shaw was off the mark.
On 2nd and 10, Shaw buys some time, looking downfield, and runs for it and steps out of bounds across the 40-yard line. Good quick feet by Connor Shaw. 7-yard pickup again. And his cohorts like it on the sideline.
Steve Spurrier, well coached at South Carolina, and he made a lot of plays with his legs in college, but probably a little bit more athletic than David Fales and aware of where his scrambling lanes are.
3rd and 3 for the Bears. Jordan Howard's back in the backfield at running back for the Bears. Shaw rolls again, being pressured, throws it away. That time no one open, and the Bears will be forced to punt. Kari Lee, one of the Bears tight ends, a man we haven't seen. Zach Miller's been bothered by a concussion, and they've been very careful with Zach Miller getting him back in play.
There's going to be an interesting battle to see who sticks as the backups behind Zach Miller. I do think Kari Lee, they traded for him last year with the Houston Texans. He's going to be developing. He's got a good athletic ability. Tony Moiaki, who you mentioned earlier, they've added him to the roster. He comes with experience. Just as for him, it's been health as well. The guy who's interesting is Scruggs. When you look at him, Greg Scruggs is a converted defensive lineman. They converted to tight end. He can be a good inline blocker, and they like his athleticism.
A little over 3.5 minutes to go in the game. Bears trailing 22-0. We'll be right back.
Bears preseason football is brought to you by North Shore University Health System and sponsored by Miller Lite, PNC, and Xfinity.
Hope you'll join us next week on the Chicago Bears Network. Bears in New England and Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Capri Bibbs on the carry for Denver. Gets 2 on the play. Danny Mason, number 43, first-year man out of Texas A&M Commerce. You hear some of these schools, not big-name schools, but these guys are, working hard and have really made the most of their chances to get to training camp, and now trying to make the most of their attempt to make the team.
It doesn't matter where you played, they find you. You could be Division III rugby players. You think of the Bears fullback, if you're good, they find you. And there's Houston Carson. It was a safety blitz. Here it's even later in the game, and the Bears run a strong safety blitz, and looks like a little bit weary on that play.
Shaken up on the play, DeAndre Houston Carson, rookie out of William & Mary, 6th-round draft pick.
comes to the sideline, replaced by DeMontre Hurst.
Well, it's interesting when you brought up Hakeem Nicks out of Regina, because he really got noticed in the East-West Shrine game is how he got noticed. And that's when he came on the NFL radar screen. And so, great player Hakeem Hicks, and that's how, you find a path to the NFL. If you're good, they find you. They will find you.
Yeah, you're right. Bibbs on the carry again. He was down on the play. Clock winding down to the 2-minute warning. The Bears have added some size on that defensive line. Eddie Goldman, we haven't talked much about him, but guy who played a lot in that first year is developing and progressing, and the coaches are happy with his progress. Last year we talked about him growing into an NFL body, and they feel he's done just that this year.
He's strong at the point of attack, and now you put Hakeem Hicks at the 5 technique. I just think and the 2 linebackers behind him, I mean, their front 7, they should make a huge jump from 22. They were 22 in the NFL at stopping the runs, 22nd in the league. That's a lot of beef up front, and they are going to be much improved.
2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in the game. Bears trailing 22-0. We'll be right back. Here of the game, it goes to the rookie cornerback DeAndre Hall. 5 tackles, 4 solo, and 2 passes defensed.
4th-round draft pick out of Northern Iowa. Right here, he plays the back shoulder fake, gets his hand in there to break it up. Press man-to-man on the outside, then gets challenged on a go route again. Gets his hands in the receiver's face, can't make play, and closes on the football. And again, Vic Fangio challenging this young man. I mentioned being a Swiss Army knife at Northern Iowa. Played corner, played safety, was up in the box. They blitzed him, got interceptions all over the field, that young man.
He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Be interesting to see what position he winds up. Bibbs on the carry. Next week, Bears at New England to work out with the Patriots Monday and Tuesday. And then Thursday night, we'll be with you on the Chicago Bears Network, 7 p.m. Central Time, when the Bears play the Patriots.
And there'll be a lot of different looks. They can run 2 tight ends with Martellus Bennett and certainly Gronkowski. I don't know how much they'll play, but even during the week of practice to go against what we call 12 personnel or 21 personnel, in their 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, to get that work all week long, it's going to be a challenge for the Bears linebackers.
Tom Brady will probably play in that game. They held him out tonight. And Garoppolo is the man who will play the first 4 games when Brady is suspended, so we will see a lot of him. Jay Cutler will see more action next week. Saw 1 quarter of action tonight, and as Kyle Long told Lou Canellis, the offense really never got anything rolling.
And it'll be a good practice because you're playing against another 3-4 defense. They'll get a lot of work in their blitz period, how to pick up your assignments, things that the Bears failed upon today in terms of their pass protection. So it's going to be definitely a good test and good work for both teams.
Final seconds rolling off. Bears never got started offensively. And the Denver Broncos took the lead early and shut out the Bears in the preseason opener 22-0. Thanks to Pat McGrath, our statistician, our spotter Kimball Bergman, and our whole crew, and a lot of old friends for John Fox with the Denver Broncos, where he coached for 4 years, and one of those seasons took the Broncos to the Super Bowl. 22-0. The Denver Broncos beat the Chicago Bears in the preseason opener. Don't forget, a week from tonight on the Chicago Bears Network, it's the Bears and the New England Patriots. Glad you're with us for this preseason opener. A lot of youngsters got playing time, and some of them did look good. For Jim Miller, this is Sam Rosen. Once again, the final score, the Bears are beaten by the Denver Broncos 22-0. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everyone.